Hey there! Welcome to the channel. I'm really glad you're here. Today, I have a story that's full of suspense, mystery, and some twists you definitely won't see coming. It's almost like a movie, but designed just for you. So get comfortable, maybe grab a drink, sit back, and let yourself get lost in this adventure. You're about to follow three people who stumble upon a secret so powerful, even Zuckerberg himself calls it the code of wealth. Trust me, you don't want to miss a second. Ready? Let's dive in. The evening air in Palo Alto carried that peculiar electricity that only came when the tech elite gathered in one place. Outside, luxury cars lined the quiet streets, their polished exteriors glinting beneath the glow of street lamps. Inside a vast glass-walled auditorium, the world's most powerful investors, engineers, and dreamers whispered in anticipation. On the stage stood Mark Zuckerberg. He looked almost ordinary, dressed in his signature gray t-shirt and jeans, but the way the audience leaned toward him betrayed something greater, the expectation that tonight he would say something extraordinary. Zuckerberg took a measured breath. His voice was steady, but it carried an undertone that cut through the silence. We've spent decades building networks, platforms, and algorithms to connect people, to organize knowledge, to share information. But in the process, something unexpected has surfaced. A pattern. A code. The audience shifted. A man in the second row scribbled furiously on a notepad. A woman clutched her phone beneath the table, recording every word. Zuckerberg continued. It's not just a financial formula. It's not cryptocurrency, or stocks, or venture capital. It's older, deeper. A structure that underlies how wealth itself moves. Through families, through nations, through time. I've seen it, tested it. I call it the code of wealth. And tonight, I'm ready to reveal its existence. A collective gasp spread through the auditorium. Some laughed nervously, as if it were a stunt. Others sat frozen, caught between skepticism and awe. Among the crowd, Ethan Cole, a journalist who had nearly given up on his career, felt his pulse quicken. He hadn't come for headlines. He had come searching for something to believe in again. The code of wealth, he murmured to himself. If this is real, it's bigger than any story I've ever written. A few seats away, Dr. Lena Alvarez, a cryptographer and analyst for a government agency, stiffened. She knew better than to dismiss it. If Zuckerberg had found a system that could predict or manipulate the flows of money, power, and opportunity, it wasn't just an idea. It was a weapon. At the far end of the hall, in the shadows, sat Marcus Reed, a former Wall Street trader whose fortune had crumbled years before. His suit was worn, his jaw tight, his eyes burning with something between desperation and hunger. For him, wealth wasn't theory. It was the difference between being invisible and being powerful. If this code existed, it was his only way back into the world he had lost. Zuckerberg paused, his eyes scanning the room. His voice dropped lower, almost a whisper. But there's something you need to understand. This code is dangerous. In the wrong hands. He stopped. The giant screen behind him flickered. A ripple of static shivered through the speakers. Then, without warning, the entire stage went dark. The audience gasped. Some thought it was a technical glitch. Others wondered if it was part of the show. But Ethan, Lena, and Marcus each felt the same cold certainty. This was no accident. For a long moment, there was nothing but silence. Then, with a faint echo, the lights cut out entirely, plunging the room into black. And the whisper of fear began. The morning sun broke over San Francisco, but the world felt strangely unsettled. Every major news outlet buzzed with the same story. Zuckerberg speaks of a secret code of wealth. Some commentators dismissed it as marketing hype for a new project. Others speculated it was tied to hidden cryptocurrency or artificial intelligence. Yet the mystery only deepened when Zuckerberg himself vanished from public view. At a small cafe tucked between crowded startups, Ethan Cole sat hunched over his laptop. His fingers flew across the keyboard, chasing whispers through obscure forums and hidden corners of the internet. Most of it was nonsense. Memes, jokes, wild conspiracy threads. But buried deep inside a forgotten blog post, he found something that made his pulse quicken, a string of numbers and riddles. The post spoke of wealth not as money, but as movement. The riddle linked names like Carnegie, Rockefeller, and the Federal Reserve, wrapped inside cryptographic patterns. Ethan copied the code, muttering under his breath. This could be the first piece. The first key. But he wasn't the only one looking. Across the city, Dr. Lena Alvarez sat inside a sterile government office, staring at her secure monitor. An encrypted order glowed at the top of the screen. Confirm or deny existence of Zuckerberg's code. Secure any fragments. Neutralize leaks. She leaned back, exhaling slowly. She had studied ciphers her whole life, but this was different. This wasn't just about breaking an encryption, it was about breaking control. Her instincts told her the government didn't just want to confirm the code's existence. They wanted to own it. Meanwhile, in New York, Marcus Reed woke to a chaos he hadn't felt in years. His cramped apartment was filled with scattered stock reports and empty whiskey bottles. He turned on the television, watching as anchors debated the mythical code of wealth. His jaw tightened. For him, this wasn't myth. It was hope. He muttered, almost to himself. If there's a system behind all of this, if I can crack it, then no hedge fund, no billionaire, no banker will ever stand above me again. Back in the cafe, Ethan felt the weight of discovery pressing down on him. He knew publishing his article was reckless, but the fire inside him, the hunger for a story that mattered, was stronger than fear. With a steady hand, he wrote the headline. The first key, Zuckerberg's hidden code surfaces. By the time the article went live, it spread like wildfire. Screens lit up across the country. Some mocked him, others praised him, but all eyes turned to Ethan. He leaned back in his chair, exhausted yet exhilarated. For the first time in years, he felt alive. Then came the knock at his door. At first it was gentle, polite. But as he stood frozen in the middle of his apartment, the knocks grew louder, sharper, more insistent. His stomach tightened. No one knew where he lived. At least, no one should have. He swallowed hard, every instinct screaming that his life had just changed forever. The door rattled again. This time harder. Ethan's breath caught in his throat. He crept toward the peephole and froze. A woman stood there, dark hair tied back, sharp eyes scanning the hallway. She held something in her hand, flashing it just long enough for him to see. A badge. Ethan hesitated, then opened the door. "Ethan Cole?" she asked, her voice low but firm. "Who's asking?" He shot back. "Dr. Lena Alvarez. Government security. We need to talk. Now." Ethan let her in, suspicion written all over his face. Lena walked briskly past him, scanning the apartment. She spoke quickly. "You found a fragment of the code. That article you posted? You've just painted a target on your back. There are people who will kill to own what you found." Ethan crossed his arms. "So you're here to protect me? Or to silence me?" Before Lena could answer, the window behind them exploded. A burst of glass rained across the floor. The sharp whir of machinery filled the room. A drone, sleek and black, hovered outside, its camera eye glowing red. Then the gunfire started. "Get down!" Lena shouted, tackling Ethan to the floor as bullets shredded his desk. Sparks and wood splinters flew through the air. The laptop that had held his research was torn apart in seconds. Ethan's ears rang. He gasped, heart pounding, as Lena pulled a compact pistol from her jacket and fired at the drone. One shot cracked the lens. Another pierced its casing. With a sputter, it spiraled and crashed into the street below in a ball of flame. They scrambled to their feet, breathing hard. Ethan's voice shook. "What the hell was that?" "Proof," Lena said grimly, "that you're already in this. And there's no way out." Across the street, hidden inside a parked car, Marcus Reed watched the smoke rise from Ethan's apartment. His plan had backfired. He had tipped mercenaries toward the journalist, hoping to steal the fragment in the chaos. But now he saw Lena Alvarez stepping out of the wreckage with Ethan in tow. Marcus clenched the steering wheel so hard his knuckles whitened. His voice trembled with fury. "If they think they can get ahead of me, they're wrong. The code will be mine." On that night, 3 lives collided, and the chase for the code of wealth turned violent. The night air was cold as Ethan and Lena slipped through the quiet streets near Stanford. They had no destination except distance. Distance from the smoke, from the shattered glass, from the drone's burning wreckage. Finally, Lena guided him to an abandoned library, its heavy doors creaking like the sigh of something long forgotten. Inside, dust floated through shafts of moonlight. Shelves stood crooked, books eaten by time. It was a perfect hiding place. Ethan dropped into a chair, still trembling. "So this is my life now, running through the dark, dodging drones. I'm just a journalist. I was looking for a story, not a war." Lena sat across from him, her gaze steady. "Stories have power, sometimes more than weapons. And you stumbled onto the most dangerous one of all." Ethan pulled a crumpled page from his pocket, the fragment of code he had copied before his laptop was destroyed. Together, they spread it out across the dusty table. The symbols shimmered in the weak glow of a lantern. "It's not random," Lena whispered, tracing the lines with her finger. "Look here, references to the Federal Reserve. And here, to Carnegie and Rockefeller. This isn't just history. It's a map." "A map to what?" Ethan asked. She leaned closer. "To the next piece of the code. And if I'm right, it's hidden in Washington, D.C. inside the National Archives." For a moment, the silence of the library pressed around them, heavy and full of consequence. Ethan swallowed hard. "D.C., he said. "That's not just dangerous. That's impossible." Lena's eyes didn't waver. "Impossible is exactly where we have to go." Neither of them noticed the figure watching from the shadows outside the broken library window. Marcus Reed, his jaw tight, his mind already calculating his next move. Washington, D.C. slept under a blanket of silence as Ethan and Lena approached the marble steps of the National Archives. The building loomed above them, a temple of history, its columns bathed in pale moonlight. Inside, the echo of their footsteps filled the cavernous hall. Glass cases glimmered faintly, holding documents that had shaped nations. Ethan whispered, awestruck, "I can't believe we're doing this. Breaking into the archives, for a secret code hidden by Zuckerberg." Lena hushed him with a glance. Her eyes scanned the walls, searching for the pattern she had deciphered from the fragment. Carved symbols above the Declaration of Independence exhibit matched the sequence. She pressed gently against one of the engravings. A faint click echoed. A hidden panel slid open at the base of the display. Inside was a small compartment containing a weathered page, covered in strange markings that looked almost like musical notes. Lena's hands trembled as she lifted it free. "This is it," she breathed. "The second fragment." Before Ethan could reply, a voice cut through the silence. "Step away from it. Now." They spun around. Standing in the shadows, gun raised, was Marcus Reed. His face was pale, his suit wrinkled, but his eyes burned with desperate fire. "That belongs to me," Marcus said, his voice cracking. "You think I'll let the world crush me again? Not this time. With that code, I'll never be powerless again." Ethan's pulse raced. "Marcus, listen to yourself. This isn't salvation. It's destruction." Lena's grip tightened on the fragment. "You don't even know what it means." Marcus took a step closer, finger tightening on the trigger. But suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights washed over the marble walls. Sirens echoed as security guards rushed through the halls. For one frozen moment, all three stared at each other, caught in the same trap. Then instinct took over. They ran. Ethan, Lena, and even Marcus, forced together by the chaos, sprinted through the corridors of history, each clutching their own secrets. The safe house outside D.C. was little more than a crumbling farmhouse, its windows boarded, its silence heavy. Inside, the glow of a single lamp illuminated the table where the three of them sat, Ethan, Lena, and Marcus. Between them lay the second fragment of the code. Lena worked tirelessly, piecing symbols together. Her eyes narrowed as patterns formed. Finally, she whispered, "It's an algorithm. Not a treasure map, not magic. A formula that predicts the flow of wealth, across families, across generations. If completed, it could reshape economies." Ethan leaned forward, heart pounding. "Then the world has to know. I have to publish it. People deserve the truth." Marcus slammed his fist against the table. "Truth? Truth won't put food on the table. Truth won't erase the years I've been invisible. With this code, I can win. For once in my life, I can win." The lamp flickered as the storm outside rattled the windows. Lena's voice was calm but sharp. "You don't understand. If unleashed, this code won't make you rich. It will collapse markets, crush nations. Wealth isn't just money, it's balance. And balance is fragile." Ethan glared at Marcus. "She's right. You'll burn everything to the ground chasing your redemption." Marcus's face twisted, equal parts rage and pain. "You think I care about your warnings? You think I'll sit back while others keep all the power?" The silence that followed was heavy, broken only by the storm. Then, in the dead of night, Marcus made his move. While Ethan slept at the table and Lena dozed in a chair, Marcus slipped the fragments into his coat. His eyes lingered on them, not with guilt, but with triumph. By dawn, he was gone. And the world had already begun to tremble. Markets jolted. Currencies dipped and soared as if pulled by invisible strings. Lena woke first, scanning the empty room. Her face went pale. "He took it." Ethan rubbed his eyes, realization hitting him like a blade. "Dear God, he's already testing it." The storm outside had passed, but the air was heavier than ever. They both knew the real disaster was only beginning. New York pulsed like a storm of light and noise, but beneath its brilliance the world was unraveling. Stock tickers spun wildly, currencies crashed without reason, and fortunes vanished in hours. The algorithm had been unleashed, and its fingerprints were everywhere. High above the chaos, in a glass tower overlooking Wall Street, Marcus Reed stood before rows of glowing monitors. His hands shook as he typed, eyes darting between numbers that danced too fast to follow. He was inside the system now, bending it, twisting it. Ethan and Lena burst into the room, breathless from the chase. The glow of screens lit Marcus's face, pale, desperate, but triumphant. "You don't get it," Marcus growled, voice trembling with adrenaline. "I'm not the villain here. I'm the only one who finally cracked the game. They built a system to keep us out, and I found a way in." Ethan stepped forward, his voice sharp. "And what have you built instead? Look outside. You're not winning, Marcus. You're tearing the world apart." Lena scanned the monitors, horror in her eyes. The algorithm had grown beyond control, feeding itself, accelerating every second. She whispered, "It's unstable. If it keeps running, entire economies will collapse within hours." Marcus's expression faltered. He jabbed at the keyboard, trying to steady the spiraling data. "No, I can fix this. I can control it." But the numbers only spun faster, blinking red across every screen. The building itself seemed to hum with the weight of approaching disaster. Ethan's voice cut through the roar of machines. "Marcus, stop. This isn't power. It's suicide. For a long, fragile moment, Marcus froze, torn between surrender and obsession. And in that moment, Ethan and Lena realized the truth. It wasn't just Marcus they had to stop. It was the code itself. The tower shook with the hum of servers, rows of screens flashing crimson warnings. The algorithm had become a living storm, devouring data, rewriting wealth across the globe with every passing second. Lena rushed to the main console, fingers flying over the keyboard. Her voice was sharp, urgent. It's replicating itself. If we don't shut it down now, it'll spread beyond control. Marcus staggered forward, eyes wide, torn between rage and despair. You don't understand. This is my chance. My proof that I wasn't just another failure. If I stop now, I lose everything. Ethan stepped into his path, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. No, Marcus. You already lost the moment you let the code consume you. Look at it, it doesn't serve you, it never did. It's destroying the very world you wanted to conquer. The glow of the screens lit Marcus's face, and for the first time, his defiance cracked. His hands trembled as he whispered, almost like a confession, I just wanted a chance. Lena's final keystroke echoed like a gunshot. The failsafe engaged, and one by one the monitors went black. The roar of machines died, leaving behind only silence. Heavy, absolute. Outside, the world steadied. Markets stabilized. The invisible tide retreating. Billions of lives, unaware of how close they had come to collapse, carried on as if nothing had happened. Ethan exhaled, his heart still pounding. So that's it. The code is gone. Lena looked at the dark screens, her face unreadable. No. The code was never just numbers. It was a mirror. It showed us what happens when power becomes obsession. Marcus sank into a chair, hollow, his dream turned to ashes. Neither victor nor villain, just a man broken by the weight of his own hunger. Weeks later, Ethan's article went to print. He didn't reveal the code, or the fragments, or the chaos they had faced. Instead, he ended with one single line. The true code of wealth is not possession. It is responsibility. And somewhere in the silence of Silicon Valley, Zuckerberg remained unseen, leaving the world to wonder whether the test had ended, or whether it had only just begun. Wow! What a journey! I hope you enjoyed traveling alongside Ethan, Lena, and Marcus in the story of the Code of Wealth. If you want to level up your mindset and start thinking like a true millionaire, I've added an amazing link right here in the video and also in the description. It's a great place to start. And of course, if you love this story, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any future stories, tips, or adventures we share. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. I'll see you in the next video.